Hey everybody, it is the Angry Honey Badger here, and it is time for Badger's Picks for the last week of May. Let's see who's free this week and which 4 champions I'm going to recommend. Free this week, we have Bard, Elise, Azrael, Fiora, Jace, Karma, Kog'Maw, TheAngryHoneyBadger, and Ziggs. As for my first recommendation for this week, going to give that one to Ziggs. He's currently in a pretty good state. He recently got a reduction of mana cost to his Q ability, allowing him to poke a little bit more early and farm up a little bit more too. Also, just in general, he's in a good spot for the current meta. He does a lot of consistent damage, and with Luden's Echo, if you want to put that on him, it does allow him to deal a little bit more damage than you're probably used to. So I think he's been in a good spot. I've had a lot of fun with him recently, and he's doing a good job in the tank meta with a lot of kite ability and disengage, and then just a lot of damage overall. So if you're looking for a mid, try out Ziggs. The next champion I'm going to recommend is going to be Elise. Now I know a lot of people have a problem with her, saying that she's completely useless still, but she really isn't. The only time she becomes useless is if you do not abuse the part where you can have a strong early game. And if you're like lacking on ganks or you're not getting anything done there, then yes, she becomes slightly useless because she does need a few items to start the process of getting going. But just go gank with her. Like, her ganks are still just as strong as they were, and they changed things on her a little bit. They increased some missile speed on her stun, so that's there, and that helps a little bit more now. Also, I still think she does plenty of damage, and in a tank-heavy meta, I know typically building her full damage is maybe shunned a little bit, but she does a lot of percentage damage, and she can kind of cut through some of the beefier targets, actually. So, I think she's actually okay. She could use a small buff, but she's still super fun. Try Elise. My next recommendation is going to go over to Fiora. I like Fiora. She's fun to play. She also does way too much damage. And by too much damage, I mean if you put a point into her W at level 1 and you take attack damage marks and quintessences, you'll have over 100 attack damage at level 1. You can go duel anyone easily, like absolutely easily. She's incredibly strong. She also can pretty much win top lane against almost any opponent. I firmly believe that if you play her right, you can win your lane pretty convincingly. She can out split push a lot of people too. So Fiora's really strong when it comes to having a very strong solo game. If you are looking for someone who can do those types of things, you definitely need to try her out. And my final recommendation for the week will be over to Azrael. Azrael is in a good spot, I believe, this season. He can kite back with blue build still, but I think blue builds keeps losing favor over and over. I typically don't build it. I have tried it out recently. It's just not as rewarding, and especially with tanks, you can't cut through them as well, but you can kite with it. Now, if you want full damage Azrael, I still think he does quite well, and one of my favorite things about Azrael, personally, is you don't have to rely on people for escaping, because you can do it yourself. It's very possible. Also, he can just farm usually pretty well in lane. You can, you know, get charged up and get going. Like, I just think Azrael's been a strong pick and still will be a strong pick for a while, as long as you can play him a little bit. So if you haven't had a chance to play him too much, you should definitely try him out. Those are the champions that are free this week. Pretty good looking week, actually, in my opinion. Bard's free if you want to try him out. You can find out how mediocre he is. I think he's really fun to play. I just think he's very hard to play in a very impactful manner, to say the least. He does take a while to get down. So if you're going to play him this week, play him a handful of games if you want to definitely get the feel for him, because it's going to take a little bit. If there's a box around any of these champions portraits, that means you can click on it, and it will take you to a building guide of some sort for the champion. And yeah, let me know who you guys will be playing as well down in the comments below. Always interested to see who you guys are playing. But other than that, good luck on the fields of justice.